Welcome back to my channel, good friends. Today we're doing something completely different. On the other end of the spectrum, we're going 360 degrees. I'm going to be breaking down the main card of UFC 251, Yas Island, this coming week. Cannot wait. And yeah, I'm going to be doing this from time to time on my channel, just for a little bit something different, a bit more content, which has got nothing else to do with food. So this is my second love, as I'm sure you now already know. So let's just dive right in. I want to start off by saying, big condolences to Khabib Nurmagomedov's family. As we all know, this week the lightweight champion lost his father. His name was Abdullah Manap Nurmagomedov, and we know he was very instrumental in the career of Khabib. Growing up, as he started training in Sambo, and as a young boy, and then he transitioned into mixed martial arts. Decorated wrestler, unbeaten. His father was very instrumental in his development as a combat sportsman. So it's very heartbreaking. The whole MMA community is mourning this, obviously, because he was always in Khabib's corner. A very well-known individual in the MMA community. And yeah, he succumbed to COVID-19, complications of COVID-19, pretty young. Really, if we actually think about it, he was only 58, I believe. So that's just really a big loss. And, all warmth and, our thoughts and our prayers are with the Nurmagomedov family. I'm sure he must be taking it very hard. I'm talking about Khabib. So I just thought I'd start off by, pointing that out. We've suffered a big loss in the MMA community. But without further ado, let's jump into the co-main. Well, let's jump into, the breakdown of the fights for UFC Yas Island, Fight Island if you want, or UFC 251. Now, in the main card, I'm focusing primarily on the main card in this video because it's the interesting stuff. So in the main card, we've got Amanda Ribas versus Paige Van Zandt, which should have taken place in January, but they had to postpone that. Van Zandt is coming back from injury, about 3 of them. After that, there's Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. That is going to be pretty interesting. I really like Rose Namajunas, pretty decorated striker. After that, we've got Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo. Now, I tell you right now, that's going to be an absolute slugfest. I'm really looking forward to that one. That one's a real treat by the UFC. So thank you, UFC, for that. After that, the second bout. When I mean the second bout, it's their second time fighting. Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Blessed Holloway, straight out of Hawaii. He gets his rematch. It's going to be another interesting fight to watch. Can't wait for that one as well. This card is pretty fucking stacked, eh? The UFC are not letting up. I think, at the same time, they're trying to get their money back because of, all the fights they couldn't get done early on in the year. And the main event, Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. I really wish Jorge Masvidal signed that thing, but for some odd reason, I don't know why he thinks he's got all that, manpower to ask for more money. He's not even a champion. Really like Jorge Masvidal, but he's really being a little girl on this one. But, yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with Amanda Ribas and Paige Van Zandt. Van Zandt's been out for quite some time. Some injuries. She's had about 3 arm breaks, yeah, which is just very unfortunate, especially if you're a combat sports lady. I remember the first time she literally snapped her wrist, yeah. not a wrist, but a forearm, you feel me? Throwing a spinning back fist, and it landed square on the money. I remember the sound of it. I mean, it was a full crowd. I was watching it on the telly, and you just heard this snap. She spun, boom, caught the lady right on the dome, and boom, she snapped it. So it's going to be a little interesting fight. In my all honesty, I do not know why it's in the, you know what I'm saying? It's on the main card. I don't really feel she's a main card type of caliber fighter. But the UFC always do this random shit when it comes to matchmaking, and there you have it. I mean, there's even another fight which I could arguably say deserves to be on the main card. I mean, Volkan Oezdemir versus Jiri Prochazak. Excuse me if I butchered that name, but I felt that could have been in the main card. But there you go. So yeah, that fight should have taken place in January, but it got scheduled for later because of the COVID-19. But anyway, Paige Van Zandt is back, fresh from injury. She's healthy. She's good to go. I think this is her last fight on her contract. I was watching an interview of her this week, and she was talking about how she's gonna try see what it's like to be a independent contractor. So hopefully that works out for her. I hope she gets the money she's looking for. Obviously, if she comes out with a dominating performance this weekend, she could possibly, get a paycheck rise. But she was also alluding to that, she makes a lot more money being a social media or an Instagram influencer, whatever you along those lines. She makes more money doing that than actual fighting. So if she completely drops the ball in fighting and completely leaves fighting, hey man, I'll hold her to her own, because you gotta respect these guys. Every time they step into the octagon, yeah, they leave a part of themselves there. It is, a dangerous sport at the end of the day. It's fighting. You can't play fighting. It's not really a game, if you understand what I'm saying. So that match will be interesting to see how it pans out. I know she's kind of a good grappler, but we'll see what happens there. Moving on to Jessica Andrade versus Thug Rose Namajunas. Now, let me tell you, folks, this is the second time they're fighting. It's number 2. First time round was such a lovely bout. Obviously, Jessica Andrade, the Brazilian, won that one via slam, TKO knockout by slam. It was pretty flush, if I'm to be quite honest, but Rose Namajunas was looking phenomenal in that match. I tell you this right now. The way she was sticking that jab, she was sticking and moving. Those linear strikes, she was jabbing, moving, boom, she'd follow up that with like a right cross. I mean, her footwork was looking phenomenal. She was really showing off a striking clinic in that one. This is going to be an interesting bout. As per usual, Andrade, is a lot more heavy footed. She comes out with hooks, strikes which come from right and left. And she likes to close that space. She's literally what we'd call a brawler, if I may. So in that fight, it was really nice. Rose Namajunas, arguably man or woman in the game, is one of the most decorated strikers, and she's not short of a bit of her jiu-jitsu game. I've seen her throw, you know, an armbar from the feet in her amateur days. So she's got some tools in the bag. I tell you that right now. She's good on the ground. She's a phenomenal striker, unbelievable striker, especially, she's kind of tall, she's got reach, she's lightning fast. So she's honestly, one of my better fighters. Both women are former champions, so that's going to be super duper interesting. I'd love to see how that works out. Can't wait for that matchup. So after that, what do we have? What do we have? Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo for the vacant bantamweight title. Obviously, Triple C, Henry Cejudo retired. He hung up his belts. He left on top, man. Olympic gold medalist, double champ in the UFC, bantamweight champion, and was it? Can't remember the other division, but he left on top. He retired as a double champion. What more would you ask for? With that on your CV, you're probably going to go down in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, this is going to be a barn burner, a slugfest. One of the fights I am absolutely looking forward to. Oh my days. Peter Yan, unbelievable striker. These Russian dudes, man, whenever they step out into this mixed martial arts game, they really, they come out with different skills, different tools we've never seen before. And he really, one thing I've noticed about Peter Yan, he's very good at taking reads on his opponent. Most of the fights in his fights, yeah, you see him kind of, laying back, being easy round one, and he starts teeing off in round two. He starts letting things go. He starts throwing leather. Jose Aldo, on the other hand, former champion, disgusting striking, I tell you. I really like his style because, he's very calm, he's very calm, he's very calm. You don't know what's coming. He'll show you different fakes, different, different looks, and then boom, he blitzes you. He just blitzes you, gets back to that, calmness, and then boom, blitzes you. Similar to Yoel Romero. So I kind of do like that fighting style. It's kind of dangerous. Decorated, former champion. I think will be his chance to be a three-weight division champ, which is pretty interesting. But obviously, in the past, he lost to the notorious Conor McGregor. Got him with that boom left hand. Ah, man, I felt sorry for him that time. I think it was less than 15 minutes. Dude, 15 minutes. Less than about 15 seconds. Conor slept him, literally slept him. Face down, ass up, face plant. I felt sorry for Jose because, he was a decorated champion, defended the belt multiple times, and he just loses to Conor like that. I felt they should have given him the rematch right then and there. But like I said, these matchmakers in the UFC can just screw around and just take all of us for the piss. But having said that, that's going to be an absolute slugfest. I see a lot of leather being thrown. It could turn out to be a brawl. Who knows? I think Jose Aldo needs to bring back his low kick game into the business a lot more. Because he's very Muay Thai based in his striking, but he's kind of lost that edge of, throwing his low kicks, which I felt was one of his most dangerous techniques in any fight. So can't wait for that one. That's really a treat from the UFC. Thank you for that. Moving on, we are looking at Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway 2 for the featherweight title. So obviously Max blessed, lost his belt to Volkanovski. It went the whole distance. Volkanovski, I realized in this bout, is a very intelligent fighter, the Australian. He really has it up there in the brain. He lit up Max with quite a few low kicks, which, kind of stifled Max's, footwork and movement. He couldn't actually, stick and move like he usually does. But the thing about Max for me, he relies too much on his cardio, because Max, he's similar to Tony Ferguson, does not tire in matches, does not gas out. He's got a gas tank for days. And I feel that, with more intelligent fighters that, pace themselves and they don't overwork and, they're actually able to get through the whole, you know what I'm saying, 25 minutes of the bout. You're just relying on your cardio is not good enough. You feel me? Max throws a lot of combinations. I feel he could, mix up, his striking with a lot more kicks. But at the end of the day, I think Volkanovski gets the W on this one. I really do. Unless Max has completely changed up his game and added more tools to his game. He has had quite a few, submission wins, but that was early in his days when he was a lot younger. I mean, early 20s or so. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm still looking forward to this one. It's still going to be a little treat. Thank you, UFC. What more can I say there? Yeah, Volkanovski is a lot shorter than Max. So he's going to be trying to look to get into the pockets a lot more, whereby Max is going to be, at range, try get off those shots, try keep him at range. Max would do a lot if he had a lot more teep kicks, yeah. I think if he had used a lot more teep kicks, he could have caused a lot more problems for Volkanovski. But anyway, that's going to still be an interesting one. Ah, man, I did forget to mention Jessica Andrade was tested positive for COVID-19. So I'm not really too sure if that matchup with Rose Namajunas is going to take place, yeah? Which will be a bummer because, ladies and gents, that is a good fight. Let me tell you this right now. Talking about COVID-19, the main event, excuse me, is probably going to be scrapped because it's Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns and his whole team were tested positive for COVID-19. Unfortunate, but at the same time, I hope they can kind of now make a deal with Masvidal to get him to take that bout with Kamaru. Because as MMA fans or, combat, fans, mixed martial arts fans, we always wanted to see game-bred Masvidal against, Usman. I mean, there was a little bit of animosity there as well. These guys do not like each other. There was even that little, clip where they were going back and forth, at the media press conferences. So I really hope they might be able to slip Jorge Masvidal in there. I'm surprised that the UFC haven't, you know what I mean? Like I'm on their website here and they still haven't even announced it. But most of these, MMA outlets have already, called it that Gilbert Burns was tested positive for COVID-19. And what would have made this fight a lot more interesting if it were to happen, yeah, is they both fight in the same gym. These guys are friends. You feel me? These guys are friends. Kamari had to actually leave his training camp because, I mean, you can't be training for literally a title fight with your training partner there. But these guys do have good respect for each other. It would still be interesting in the sense that if Kamaru Usman left his current gym, yeah, to go train elsewhere, all the head coaches and all the coaches, they know Kamaru Usman, they know his weaknesses, so they'll definitely tell that to what? Gilbert Burns. So that would be a lot more interesting fight than most people were to think, honestly speaking. But if that fight were to pan out, wow, I really, that would be a tough one for me to call. I'd still want to say Kamaru would win that one. But still, having said that, I hope they can slot in game-bred Jorge Masvidal, Street Jesus, to fight Kamaru Usman. I hope they completely do not scrap that fight. But as it goes, there are two possible fights which are going to be scrapped because of COVID-19, two athletes being tested, which would be Jessica Andrade and Gilbert Burns. I hope you liked the video. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more of these. just to provide extra content onto my channel. And yeah, man, get ready for UFC 251. And yeah, it's gonna be low. It's really gonna be good. The UFC are coming out with like hammers. This card is stacked city, so can't wait for Bruce Buffer to get in there and bells ringing, and yeah, can't wait for them fights to begin. Hope you enjoyed the content. I appreciate you. Catch you on the next one. Peace.